Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to take a look at transitions. So what is a transition? So a transition is when you move from one part of the track to the next part of the track and it sounds like it's still the same track. I've been listening to a lot of synthwave tracks recently that people have been sending me, and I've been listening to some great stuff, some great melodies, but one of the key things that's standing out in most of those tracks is transitions. There's no transitions, so you're going from your breakdown or your verses into your chorus with no transitions at all, and it can be very confusing to listeners when it changes so drastically from one part of the track to the next. So you need transitions in there. So, for example, if you were driving down a country lane and then all of a sudden you blinked and you was in a city, you'd be like, what's going on here? So you need transitions. So if you're driving down a country lane, you maybe see the city in the distance, and when you get close to it, you see houses start to build up, and then the time you get into the city, you're in a city because you've moved into it. It's the same with sort of music. You need to be adding stuff in there, little effects, whether it's snare hits or snare fills and stuff like that, just so the listener knows that something's about to change in your track. So I'm gonna show you a few examples today of how you can achieve this in your tracks. So I've got one of the tracks that I'm currently working on now, and I'll just give you a little example of what I mean here now. So what we've got here is we've got a reverse sort of FX, sort of style effects there, and we've got a couple of snare hits. Now if we were to take those out of the track, and even the crash out of the track, this is what you'd actually get. Just straight in there, with everything sort of added in. So these really make a difference in the track. So obviously one of the things you can look at is obviously a little snare fill, just so you know that the drums are coming in. You would use sort of snare fills and tom fills and stuff like that when you're about to go from a part that doesn't have drums in to a part that does have drums in. So this part is obviously without drums. We're adding a little snare fill in here to let people know that drums are sort of coming in. And then I've just gone for this little sort of computer gamey effect, rising up as well, so people just don't hear the snares hit and then bang, we're in. They're hearing this rising sort of effect, so they know something's going to happen. And then we have this crash here to let people know that this has started. So if you're going from no drums into drums, you can add snare effects. So how do you go from one part of the track to another part when it's changing? So if we were to bring these out again, mute these, drag all these in and cut them there. So what's actually happening now is we're going from this part of the track into a piano part of the track. So we're taking out some elements and adding a piano in. So let's just listen to it without no transitions in place. I've actually changed the bass there too, so let's do that again, sorry. And again, we've still got that snare added in as well. Let's take that out. Right, third time lucky. Right, fourth time lucky. See, so it just changes. There's nothing letting you know that it's coming up. So if you've never heard this track before, if you couldn't see what you can actually see on the screen, if you're listening in your headphones, and then you'd be like, what's going on here? So what we've done a couple of things here. Again, we've gone for the effects. So you keep the same sort of effects in throughout the track. When people hear that effects, they get used to that and they know that something's about to change. So we've added effects in. Again, we've added the crash in, but what we've also done is actually change the bass. So we've actually, towards the end of here, we've actually changed the bass, and this here is taking off the sidechain. So allow these notes to hit fully with no sidechain on. So we've gone for a nice little bass change here. What we've also done is we've actually stripped out the kick, we've stripped out the snare, and we've stripped out the shakers. So we've took these elements out of it. We're actually, shakers will stop in this part of it, but we've took them elements out of it, so there's a bit of it, there's a gap in the track, there's some breathing room. So as people's getting ready to sort of, we know something's going to change, so we've got a little bit of breathing room in the track. So in this part here, we've actually took the bass out. The bass has been taken out. Another technique we can use as well. So we've took out the kick, we took out the snare, and we've left the shakers in this time because the shakers will continue on. The reason we've took the shakers out here is because they're stopping. So if they continue on, people can still hear them when it changes. So take them out. People don't really know that they've actually stopped. So we continue the shakers on, and we took the bass out this time. Again, so you've noticed every single time something changes, I've got something in there, whether I'm dropping out drums in the track to make it breathe, where I'm adding crashes or reverse effects or little snare fills, in the track. It's there all the time. And here we have a different one. So towards the end of it, what's actually happening here is we're going up 2 semitones. So what I've done, I've actually added an extra snare and given it some real character. So we'll play that part. So because we're changing complete key and every single element's changing, we've gone for something very, very big in there. We've gone for a big snare fill, so people know something big's coming up now. We've got little snare fills in here and there, and we've got where we drop in parts out and whatnot. And we've got these little sound effects just to let people know stuff's changing. But when something big's happening, we've dropped a lot of stuff out, and we've just got a big snare fill, completely different. It's never heard before in the track, and it just gives this big effect that something big is going to happen. And obviously, once the crash hits in again, everything's changed in the track. So there's a couple of different ways there. Just to summarise, you've got snare fills, tom fills, and whatnot going into drums. You can little reverse effects that you can add in as well. Crashes, even a reverse crash. So easy way to get reverse crash. You've got your crash here. All you do is right click, make unique, double click, and then reverse. What you then do is you zoom in, hold Alt, because if you don't hold Alt, you get in that. If you hold Alt in, it will let you just take away the front of it, and again Alt. So now you've got a reverse crash effect. So simple. And then we'll play that. Very, very simple and very effective. I'll use them all the time. Just little things here and there, just let people know that something is going to change. So just to summarise, you've got your FX, you've got your rises, and then you've got what I call letting the track breathe. We're letting the track breathe here. We're dropping drums out, we're dropping snares out, we're dropping shakers out. We're taking off the sidechain on the bass because there's no kick playing, so we can allow the sort of the bass to play by itself. We've even changed some of the notes just towards the end there of the bass to make it sound slightly different, going into something else. And then we're not adding everything back in at once. And again, every single time something changes in the track, we're adding these in, and that's what you need to add in. What I will include in the description below is I will include a little sample pack with the likes of crashes, reverse crashes. I've actually got it over here. Let's have a quick look. Yep, so I'll include, where are we now? I'll include this 2017 effects. Now a lot of this is maybe some EDM stuff, but you've got some fills. You've got impacts, snare fills, crash. We've got a dry crash and a wet crash. And then we have this reverse wet crash. So this is I use this quite a lot in my tracks. So you can see that needs time stretch. So let's time stretch that. And this is just a reverse crash, but it's got a delay on it. So I will include this in, so you've got some sweeps down as well. Now, if your sweeps down are too long, there's a couple of different things you can do. So if you've got a sweep down here and you think it's too long, just this out button here will move it out. We'll change the volume of it as well. So we've got some white noise. This is sort of sidechain white noise as well. What we've got here is sidechain white noise. And we have so we've got some 8-bar fills up. We've got some 1-bar fills up as well. Just little tiny ones there. We've also got some 2 bars as well. So I will include this pack here in the description for you to download and use yourself. And again, make sure you're adding plenty of transitions into your track so that listeners know that something's about to change. So that's about it for this video really. Any comments or questions, leave them below and I'll certainly get back to you later on. Thanks for watching.